Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Lola's Frugal Life. Today I'm going to be talking about things that I'm loving this fall. I just listened to another podcast, I think it was the Girls Next Door, and they just did like a fall seasonal podcast where they talked about things they were loving, and they just did all kinds of fun stuff in the episode. But after I listened to it, I was thinking about all the things that I was loving about this season, and I was just kind of walking around and I kept noticing like, oh yeah, and I love that. Oh yeah, and this is great too. And I just kept thinking of all these different things in my mind that I was loving about this fall. So I thought it would be fun for me to do an episode on the same topic. Although my episode is not nearly going to be as long as theirs was. They had all kinds of fun stuff they did. They have two people, so they kind of can go back and forth on each other and do different things. I'm just going to talk about what I'm loving this fall. So I do have to admit though that fall is not my favorite season. I really love spring and summer, especially summer. I love the warm weather and the simpler schedule with no one being in school. There's more evenings I can spend at the barn with my horses without it getting dark so early. And there's just so much that I love about summer. And each year, when August would come, I would start to think, great, summer's over, here comes fall. And while I definitely do love the weather of spring and summer much more, there are really plenty of things that I love about the fall and winter. So I've been really trying to kind of, take those in and not be so negative each year when the fall comes. And I've been trying to do this over the last several years, and I think it's really working. When that initial shock hits me that we're about to change seasons, I'm still kind of like, ugh, but now that we're in it, there's definitely a lot of things that I do like about this season. So the first thing though, I want to thank everybody. It's not a fall thing, but two people just gave me new star ratings on Apple Podcasts. So well, it's totally not a fall thing. It's something that just happened. I haven't gotten new star ratings or reviews in a while, and I check every single day because that's just how I am. But I was super excited to see that I just got two new star ratings within like the last week, within like 1 week of each other. So thank you so much to whoever did that. Ratings and reviews are really hard to come by. I totally get it. I never did it myself really before I had my own podcast. Now I understand the importance of it, but I totally get that a lot of people just don't do that. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, whoever it was. Thank you so much. It's just very difficult to grow a podcast, and those ratings and reviews really do help a lot. So thank you. That's the first thing. That's totally not really fall related, but it happened in fall, and I was thinking about how thankful and happy I was about that at the time when I'm recording this. So I just wanted to share that. Anyhow, real fall things now. So one thing that I'm really loving is this placemat that I just picked up for my kitchen table. So it's like a ring of fall leaves, so it's kind of like a round-ish placemat, and but it's not like round because it's like made of leaves. So it's got like the shape of the leaves, but it's in like kind of a circular pattern. And then I just have like a really nice seasonal candle that's like sitting on that placemat on my kitchen table. And I was out shopping with one of my daughters for a dress for a Sweet 16 party that she's going to, and we saw it, and I'm just not usually one to buy stuff. Like I always lean towards not buying rather than buying. But when I kept looking at it, my daughter convinced me that I should get it. It was only $9, and it just had something really nice to make the table feel a little bit more fun for the season. And that's something that I found, I don't know if you're really supposed to do this, but I've been doing that occasionally for different seasons where I'll buy like a placemat instead of a set of placemats, and I'll just kind of put it in the center of the table with like a candle on it. So it's like an inexpensive little decoration. So I'm not using it like really as a placemat. It's more just kind of something to put in the center of the table and then put a candle on. So that was really nice, and I'm really loving seeing that in the kitchen each time I walk in there. Another thing I'm really loving is this cute little TJ Maxx sign that I bought that says Hocus Pocus Company, and it's got like a cute little broomstick that's in like a shimmery orange color, like the glittery kind of blue broomstick. It's one of those like black little box signs that you get and you just kind of like set somewhere. They always have them at TJ Maxx for different seasons and things. And it was like $6, and I'm really loving it because Me and my daughters just recently watched a new Hocus Pocus movie, and I thought it was really cute, and then I rewatched the original the other day. So the sign just kind of kept up with that whole like Hocus Pocus theme going on this year, and I just kind of thought it was really nice, and it just was another little simple decoration we could add for the season. And I do plan on also kind of having one of those 2 Hocus Pocus movies on in the background as we get closer to Halloween. So it was just kind of nice to kind of tie it all together, and I was in that kind of Hocus Pocus mood, I guess. Another thing I am really loving that is super cute is this Halloween shower curtain that I picked up at Kohl's while I was out shopping one day. This one was a little bit of a splurge, but I did use a $5 coupon towards it that I got from making an Amazon return. And it's just like, it's hard to describe, but it's just really cute. Like, it's like a black shower curtain, but it's got like, just like little squares. It's so hard to describe. It's just like little square box images that cover the entire thing. And they're just like a little skeleton, or I don't even remember, maybe a little black cat or white cat, because it's a black curtain. I don't remember exactly all the images on it, but it almost kind of reminds me of like a Disney like Haunted Mansion type theme. But I thought it's really cute, and every time I go in the bathroom it just looks so nice. And you know, so that was something that I'm really loving right now too. Another thing that I'm definitely really loving is some plants that I did outside. So this year I went out early and bought some mums that had not bloomed yet and some ornamental cabbages, and I cleaned out the containers that I had my tomato plants in and planted them with the mums and the cabbages. And it was so nice to like clean up the containers because the tomatoes were like completely done and the plants were looking a mess. And over the last couple weeks, the mums have slowly started to bloom, and I've just really loved watching the transition each day. Like when I go outside to take the dogs out, and they're like, more and more of the flowers are starting to bloom, and then soon they'll be like fully bloomed. And then I also have several mums planted in the ground in my backyard that, you know, I had gotten over the years and then planted them in various places, and they're all starting to bloom now too. So I'm really loving watching that seasonal transition where the old plants are cleaned up and gone, and then these new ones are starting to bloom. So that's been really fun, and it looks nice with everything just kind of cleaned up. There's been many years where I did not clean up the tomatoes or any of that stuff and just kind of let it die and look terrible all winter, and then cleaned it up in the spring. So it was nice to just kind of get that stuff all cleaned up and then put some new seasonal stuff in it. Another thing I am loving is seasonal foods. So it's fun to start bringing back some seasonal foods that I don't make year round. So one of those that my family really loves in the fall is pumpkin chili. My one daughter always asks me to make that each year when we get around this time of year. So I don't know, there's something about just because that it has pumpkin in it, it makes it feel like fun and festive. And so even though, and even those foods that aren't like really fall themed, it's just nice to bring back like make a Salisbury steak recipe in the crock pot that I really like, and it's kind of like a fall, like wintry type thing. So any of those kinds of recipes and foods that we don't normally eat in the summer, it's just kind of fun to start making them again. And the pumpkin chili is just kind of like specifically one that candles are another thing like that fall, and I'm actually pretty much I wind up loving every season, but right now I'm loving the new ones that we just got. So each week during the year I always put aside $3 a week for candles. So I just kind of accumulate like a small amount of money that builds up over time. Like if you think about it, every 10 weeks that's $30, so whatever. We love to buy candles whenever the seasons change. Me and one of my daughters, we go to TJ Maxx, we pick out a couple of candles, usually like 1 or 2, stay within my budget of whatever I have saved up for them. And so this year we went and we picked out 2 really nice fall scented candles, and one of them is like in a really pretty jar that goes perfect, like I mentioned I have with that new placemat that I just got on the kitchen table. So I'm really loving those fall candles right now. Another thing I am loving right now is hand soap, body wash, and lotion. I'm always loving those, but right now I'm loving the fall stuff that we just bought. So some of you might know, I know I've mentioned it before, that I save up a little bit of money each week for Bath and Body Works, and I usually just shop at the semi-annual sales that they have in like January and I think July. It's like June or July they have their other one. So I try to usually just shop at those sales and stock up whenever they have a lot of things that are like 75% off. But we really didn't have any fall products, and we really like to have like a nice fall hand soap for like the sink in the kitchen and the bathroom, and like a lotion and maybe a body wash that are seasonal, because it's just kind of fun to have those. So even though it wasn't the semi-annual sale, we still got a pretty good deal. We had a 20% off coupon that came in the mail, and then we also had a free full-size body care product that came in the mail too, and you were allowed to use both. So they also had all the body care products, buy two get one free. So, and you could apply the 20% off. So we picked 3 items from the buy two get one free, and then we got the free product, and then we had the 20% off. So we got a pretty good deal on what we bought. Like, we made sure to stay within everything that we could use some type of sale or coupon on. So we got this pumpkin pecan waffles lotion and body wash that they have, and we got the marshmallow pumpkin latte lotion. I love the pumpkin pecan waffles lotion. It smells so good. It's like my favorite. And then we just got one other lotion that was a more generic, I can't remember, maybe some type of vanilla, just for like later on, because we had that other one free full-size body care product or whatever. But anyway, so I'm really loving those new scents that we got, and it's always nice to get like a nice new full seasonal hand soap or lotion or whatever to put like in your kitchen or your bathroom. And then we did also splurge on vampire blood hand soap while we were there. I just thought it was so fun for Halloween. It's like one of the foam hand, I think it's foam, I don't know, it's one of the hand soaps, and it's just like this like reddish blood looking color, and it says vampire blood, and I just thought it was really cute for Halloween. So we did get that. It wasn't on sale, and well, the 20% off did apply to it, but it wasn't like part of like the buy two get one free or anything like that. But we decided to get that anyway, just because it was kind of fun for Halloween. Another thing I am loving right now is coffee. So I am a sucker for any seasonal or themed anything. Like, for example, when my daughters and I were out in Philly for a girls trip, I saw a drink on the menu called Ben Franklin Punch. And I very rarely order drinks at restaurants because they're so overpriced. But when I saw it was Ben Franklin Punch and not just a regular punch, and we were in Philly, I had to get it. So if you're not like this, you probably won't understand why on earth I would buy something just because of the name they put on the menu. But I just like totally love stuff like that. So with the fall seasonal theme type stuff, you know, if Starbucks has their new fall drinks, I am dying to get them. So me and my daughter, we go shopping at BJ's that has a Starbucks nearby. So every once in a while we will drive through and get one of their seasonal drinks. So this fall I'm really loving their pumpkin cream cold brew. I love their cold brew cream. I forget what they call them usually. It's usually just called like sweet cream cold brew or whatever, I think is the one I really like. But now they have the pumpkin cream cold brew. So I'm really loving that. And my daughter really loves the pumpkin spice latte. And my other daughter is loving the, I think it's called like apple oat milk something or another. I forget the name of it. It's like a longer name, the drink that my other daughter likes. But those are always fun. So I do love trying those out when they first come out in the season. And then I also got new fall K-Cups that I'm really loving. And they are by the brand Crazy Cups, which I really like. They're like for the Keurig, and I just really love the seasonal flavor. I got one box of vanilla pumpkin spice coffee that I think is really good. The coffee is a little bit more on the expensive side, like most K-Cups are, but I really only have it for like a treat. So it's not like I'm drinking that coffee like every single day and not all year round. Like right now I'll probably drink it more because I have this like fall flavor, but it's not something that I drink like every day all year round. I just use it more for like a treat. So it's kind of nice to have it once in a while. Another thing that I am loving is my fall pillow covers. So every season I change the pillow covers that we have on our couch pillows, because a few years ago I discovered seasonal pillow covers and I just love them. You don't have to store pillows, you just have to store the cover. And I had gotten some for Easter, for Halloween, fall, Christmas, and it just makes such a big difference to change out the pillow covers to go with the season. So right now I have on some really cute Halloween pillow covers and some like pumpkin patch type fall ones. And yeah, what I just really love about the pillow covers is that it takes literally no space to store it, and it makes such a big difference in the decoration in the room, like if you're trying to do some seasonal decorating. So I'm definitely loving those right now. I'm also loving my hand towels that I have in the kitchen. So I got these really cute Halloween hand towels last year, and they're like Salem, Massachusetts themed, which is why I really love them, because last year for my daughter's Sweet 16, we went on a family trip to Salem in early October. So the Salem themed decorations just kind of remind me of our trip, and it's fall and Halloween, and it just really is fun to kind of see them and use them. So I'm really liking that right now. Another fall thing is hoodies. So I haven't had to wear one until yesterday, I think, was the first time I put on like a big comfy hoodie, because it was chilly outside. And even though I do prefer to be in a t-shirt and flip-flops in the summer, it was nice to kind of put on like a big oversized hoodie with some jeans and just feel kind of comfy. So I'm starting to get back into loving the fall clothing. And then one other thing, birthdays. I'm loving birthdays this fall. My family has a lot of birthdays that run from September to December. So we do a lot of birthday dinners, which is really nice because we don't really do dinners out the rest of the year. So at this time of year, we always seem to have some type of dinner or gathering or celebration coming up to look forward to. So that's just another thing that I'm really loving this fall season. So that's all I can think of right now. I hope maybe this will just kind of get you thinking about the things that you're loving about the season, because when I listened to that other episode was when I really kind of started looking at all these different things in my house and realized how much I was enjoying them. It just kind of made me think more about that, and just kind of bringing stuff to the front of your mind and just kind of recognizing all these nice little things you have that change with the seasons can just really help you enjoy them more. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you here next week. So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Lola's Frugal Life. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.